Well, let's take it to Abuja, where the European Union says it is in talks with Nigeria to get its gas supply following Russia's withdrawal of supplies to the EU, being the fallout from the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Now, the European Union ambassador in Nigeria says the EU is also interested in continuing to deepen the bilateral relations between Nigeria and the EU. Moyo Thomas reports.
The EU Commission lights up the Abuja city gate to signify the strong partnership between Nigeria and the European Union. Earlier at a press briefing, the European Union head of delegation, SAMUELA ISOPI, paid tribute to the growing bilateral relations between Nigeria and the European Union.
As every year, this is also an opportunity to take stock of the main achievements and results of our cooperation and our partnership with Nigeria.
She specifically harped on the advantages this has brought to Nigeria, especially in areas of trade.
That the European Union is Nigeria's most important trading partner. We are the largest trading partner for Nigeria, amounting for almost 21% of Nigeria's trade with the world. The world is big, so I don't have to tell you that if we represent 21%, it's quite big.
If you go back a couple of years to 2020, trade between EU and Nigeria, total trade, was actually down to 22 billion euros. So there was a big global downturn in trade. Nigeria was affected by this along with every other country in the world, but it has bounced back. And it's interesting that it has bounced back in Nigeria's favour. So there's quite a big trade surplus in Nigeria's favour.
The ambassador also disclosed that Nigeria has sent a request to the EU to observe the 2023 elections, which she says is part of their commitment to ensuring democratic governance and rule of law. She assures that these and many more forms of support to Nigeria will remain unwavering.
I cannot provide you figures. I hope I will be able to do it next year. But we also are, I will not say the first, but for sure one of the leading investors in Nigeria. We are mapping out for the very first time the presence of European Union investments in Nigeria. When I say European Union investments, what I mean is joint ventures, so joint cooperation.
The 9th of May is a European Union Day, and the Commission says it will mark this with government officials on the day. The EU also promised to strengthen its relations in digital economy by supporting startup companies in the country. Moyo Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, let's take it to Delta State now, where the governor, Ifeanyi Okowa, is calling on its residents, to place high premium on the protection of public infrastructure built to serve the people. The governor made the call at the quarterly media chat with journalists, where he expressed his displeasure at the rate of vandalism of public buildings, especially schools across the state. Ikenna Amici reports.
After the construction and inauguration of public buildings or roads, the people, especially stakeholders in that particular area, are expected to take ownership of such infrastructure to protect and preserve them. But it has been noticed recently in some parts of Delta State that some people are in the habit of vandalizing public infrastructure, like this Alero Primary School in Warri South Council area. The roof, the ceiling, the writing board, water system, and other parts have been defaced or removed completely. Governor Okowa is unhappy over this negative trend and called for a collective action to stop it.
It's unfortunately what we begin to see in the state. It's not only in Warri, it's happening in many places. And just recently I've had to approve more persons to watch over our primary and over our secondary schools. But it ought not to be so. Truly it ought not to be so. So you begin to wonder, is it possible for the governor to begin to police every primary school? What are our communities doing? Because we have seen places where we send brand new chairs and desks for kids, and because we know, they just come and cut it away to the destroy it, sometimes use it to go and do firewood. I begin to wonder, why would somebody ordinarily do such a thing? I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the elders.
The governor is also sad over the indiscriminate dumping of refuse inside drains in the state capital Asaba and its environ.
It's unfair that the government spends a lot of money to build drains and then people go on to empty refuse into the drain. It's wicked. It's a wicked act and it's not right. Landlords in various roads should be able to organize themselves in such an association that they are able to talk to themselves and to stop this kind of thing.
A lot of tax money is spent by government to construct public properties, so it is expected of every citizen to take care of these properties. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, Asaba.
Outside Nigeria now, the United Nations Security Council has unanimously adopted its first declaration on Ukraine since Russia invaded in February, backing the UN Secretary General's efforts to find a peaceful solution to the war. Russia voted with the other 14 members of the Council to back a declaration supporting efforts to find a peaceful end to the crisis.
The declaration drafted by Norway and Mexico only stops short of supporting a mediation effort by the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, as was laid out in an earlier version of the text. The 15-member council also recalls that all member states have undertaken under the Charter of the United Nations the obligation to settle their international disputes by peaceful means. The text ends with a demand on Mr. Guterres to submit a report to the Council after the adoption of the declaration. Shortly after, Russia vetoed a resolution condemning the invasion, asking Moscow to move its army back to Russian soil. And in the heat of war, Ukraine is continuing a counteroffensive near the city of Kharkiv and says it has recaptured 5 villages. US-based Institute for the Study of War says the Ukrainians could soon free Kharkiv from the threat of Russian artillery. Kharkiv has been under constant shelling since the start of the war. No one knows how many people have died in the battle for Ukraine's second-largest city, including civilians as well as soldiers from both sides. According to the assessment from the U.S. military think tank, the battle for Kharkiv could be a decisive phase. The city of Kharkiv could define victory or defeat in eastern Ukraine. It lies directly on an important road that leads from Russia in the north into the Donbas region and contested regions in the south and southeast of Ukraine. So far, Russian troops have tried in vain to capture the city. At a metro station where people seek shelter from Russia's bombs, children find comfort in some time with their teacher. Maybe this could distract them from constant panic and fear.
On the intelligence, I think you can understand I'm going to be careful.
Meanwhile, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby has denied claims by Moscow that the U.S. is in a proxy war with Russia because it is giving weapons to Ukraine and providing some military training. But Mr. Kirby describes the war as Russia's war, started by President Putin and could end if he wants it to. Briefing journalists, he reacted to questions on the U.S. monetary and weapons support for Ukraine.
We provide them what we believe to be relevant and timely information about Russian units that will allow them to adjust and execute their self-defense to the best of their ability. The kind of intelligence that we provide them, it's legitimate, it's lawful, and it's limited.
As the conflict between both sides continue, many Ukrainians, especially in the capital Kiev and Kharkiv, the second largest city, hope for lasting peace.